This is a full review of the new Audi A6 Allroad, especially for our friends in the US. Now the possibility to get an A6 Avant, an A6 Estate again, next to the RS6 of course. Well, interesting. Here with this off-roadish version, what's it all about? In exterior, interior and the driving experience here on Autogefuehl with Thomas. Is this the ultimate dream estate? We'll find out in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! Here in the front, the A6 in general in this new generation, distinctive design lines here, pretty sharp design, and the all-road version has a special front grille here with the silver vertical fins inside and of course the silver contrasting bumper. A very nice look which is really unique in this model lineup and adds some off-road character, but without looking, let's say, dirty off-road alike. It's really like an elegant off-road styling, so to say. Interesting, right? LED comes standard and optional then the Matrix LED headlamps, which we also have right here. And the color is Typhoon Grey. 4 meters 93, 16 foot 2 or 194 inches is the length of the Audi A6 in general, no matter if sedan or estate here. The Allroad just comes as an estate. And wheels start with 18-inch in the EU, 20-inch would be standard in the US, and the ones we see here are also 20-inch. Still a good compromise between comfort and the looks. 21-inch would be the maximum, but that reduces the comfort a little bit. Air suspension is a standard with this model, and the all-road character is more that you also have the off-road mode, which then can maximum lift up the car 4.5 centimeters or 2 inches. Other than that, it's more really about the looks. There's not like a different technology behind it or so. And looks is indeed that we have the contrasting wheel arches, and they are available now in 3 different versions or stylings. This is here the painted one, like, you know, black or dark gray, and they're also available as a standard one just with the matte black, like this typical crossover styling, which looks a little bit more simple off-roadish. This here, this sophisticated off-road look indeed. And as a third option, you could also paint it in vehicle color. But then I think the styling of the Allroad is gone, so to say. So I think this here the most elegant choice, even though it's not the most practical one. Roof rails as well, and then the typical A6 estate style, which has some strong shoulders here with, again, with the sharp lines right here. So I think an elegant but sporty design. Sporty, although it's the Allroad version. In the rear we have the Allroad Quattro badge, and then lower part again the silver contrast. I think it so well fits to that vehicle. By the way, if you do not go for a gray vehicle color, you have even more contrast. Imagine it in Thomas Blue, for example, and then the silver contrast to that. That is even more striking in the design. Then the tail lamps, really nice LED signature here with a claw-like design, and then in this case a black stripe that goes all over the vehicle in the very middle part. Tell me what you think about design. Is this your favorite Audi A6? And tell me in the comments. And an interesting technology detail is that this car can be equipped with a rear axle steering. So at slower speeds, the rear wheels will turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels, and at higher speeds in the same direction. And by the way, also the adaptive air suspension reacts on the speed. So it doesn't only go higher when you are in the off-road mode, it also goes lower automatically or in a dynamic mode when you're driving faster than 120 kilometers an hour or faster than 70 miles an hour. Under the hood, either petrol engine, especially for our friends in the US, This will be the 6-cylinder 3-liter petrol engine TFSI with 340 horsepower, or in Europe we can also go for the V6 TDI 3-liter engine. Here we go, so only 3-liter 6-cylinders available for the all-road version, and this one here available with 218 horsepower, 286, and in the, well, it would be like the S version in the EU, which is not called S here in the all-road version, then with 350 horsepower. The strongest ones, diesel and petrol, just accelerate a little bit over 5 seconds to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour, and well, the all-wheel drive here is 40% in the front, 60 in the rear, permanent quattro all-wheel drive, the classic one, with the converter automatic gearbox, whereas the petrol one has the S-tronic dual clutch transmission and the front plus rear quattro ultra all-wheel drive. What do you think about that? So these doors have, let's say, an opening help. So when you're just opening them like this, you see here they pop out automatically and come a little bit towards you. So they're easier to open when you open them very slightly. So door closing sound, oh, perfect door closing sound, that's awesome. So once again, open them slightly and slowly, then it's easy. But when you're in a hurry and then you open them really fastly, then this mechanism, this coming towards you mechanism, sometimes gives you a feeling that it would delay something. So just have to know that. Insert of the doors, leatherette surface on the top part, high quality microfiber insert here, really beautiful, and then galvanized buttons with either short or automatic all the way opening and closing function. And when we do that, you can also see here, let me put that up a little bit here. There we have this dual insulation glass with the optional acoustic package that makes it even more silent in this vehicle. All-road entry badge, then also grey accentuations around the floor mats, aluminum pedals, Sumo 2 screens and so on. Special all-road sport seats, that's how they call it, so they are sportier, with the accentuations in the shoulders, and then different greys or blacks are being mixed, interesting color mix. And here with the Alcantara and the insert, in the EU or in Germany especially, we have a base fabric seat, which we're also doing a good job, and you know, save some money. This then the optional high trim seat with the Alcantara, and special for the all-road here also with the all-road stamp. Unfortunately, so far for the US, only the animal skin seat. That is of course a miss. And you should tell that your Audi dealer, definitely. But here, the ones we can get here, beautiful, although some outside parts like here contain animal, which is not necessary. And this then here again is leatherette to my information. So they mix the materials, but you cannot really distinguish because the leatherette grades are also very high nowadays. Now let's take a seat on these sports Alcantara all-road seats, sports and all-road wear. This is the scheme of this vehicle, to combine it somehow. And they're very comfortable indeed, so very good first impression, definitely. Enough side support, and you also don't slide on this Alcantara surface, and also climate-wise it keeps you cool and warm depending on the outside temperature. Steering wheel is here with the manual control, but it's a very smooth process, so that's well done. You can find your position. One way is 86 or 6'1", and still a lot of headroom left. There is also a panoramic roof available if you want one. And electric seat control right here. In the front part you can put a little bit longer here, manual integrate. Really great Alcantara quality we have then here for the microfiber surface. So nice position and also a very clean cockpit layout. I would say let's take a detailed look at that. Now let's examine the interior together right here. You can see one more time the grey Alcantara, or has almost a bluish note if you look at that on camera now, right? So a very clean layout. Left side with the digital instruments, 12.3 inch. In the central part you have the upper part 10.1 inch and the lower part 8.6 inch. I'll soon show you how they interact together. In most markets this setup is standard, at least for the higher trim A6. Some markets with base Audi A6 versions still offer analog instruments on the left and then a smaller screen on the upper part, so you have to check the configurator how it is for your market when you buy an A6. Soon deals to the screens. The steering wheel here on the left side, you can see you control the digital instruments with thumb. On the right side, for example, the sound, the volume, and also activation of the voice input, which is somewhat useful but not as natural and sophisticated yet as with Mercedes and BMW. The rest of the cockpit here, the big shifting lever here for the converter automatic gearbox, which we have here in the diesel, and the petrol we get the dual clutch transmission with the Quattro Ultra drive, front plus rear. But this one here, the converter automatic gearbox with a permanent all-wheel drive, one reason to go for the diesel in this case. Adaptive cup holders right here, also beautiful in the execution. All the materials are high quality. And then we have a leatherette surface here for the armrest with contrast stitches at the side. And when we open it, then we have some USB supplies underneath and an inductive charging possibility as well. And very interesting is also this horizontal stress of the dashboard, together with the Quattro logo, which will be illuminated at night. And then this special dash where you can not serve food nor drinks, because there ain't no food in Thomas's vehicles. Or Thomas's test vehicles, of course. Now the digital instruments. Here the check engine light. Again, I always explain it. It is totally fine when the ignition is on, and when you start the engine properly, then it will disappear and everything is fine. That's in every Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Seat, Porsche, the whole corporation, and so on. And you can see how the RPMs turn up in the left part, right side speed, but then you can also have the map on the inside or some other information, Apple CarPlay and so on. This is the consumption pretty high for this diesel, because this includes our Autobahn test. You can also score as low as 5.5 or 6 liters on 100 kilometers. It's also possible. Soon more to that while driving. In the view change here, you can also put the map all over the screen. That's of course one of the big advantages of this virtual cockpit. And you can see here, 880 kilometers of range. This is also one diesel advantage here. And that's already driving it a little bit, you know. So 900 kilometers of range is possible actually with just one fueling. So the central infotainment unit here, it plays together. First of all, in the lower part, you have it here that you can scroll like this through the temperatures, or you can also do like plus minus click, both is possible. So for a digital solution, it's rather easy to control, but you also have to look down. Also here when you activate the seat heating, for example. However, what you could also do is set temperature to 22 degrees. Would be another possibility, for example.
I'll increase the temperature to 22 degrees.
So that works. And also GPS input, for example. Then in lower parts we have the drive select, but I would rather activate it in the top part than when you switch it quite often. Like here, then you go to car and then to Audi drive select here, and then it stays, you know. When you click it in the lower part, it disappears again. And then, you know, playing around in the lower part, not that good. And there you can also activate the off-road mode. Then you can see also here with this visualization that the air suspension is raising actually. Then you also have the camera button in the lower part, which shows you this camera system here, front view or rear view. And then you also have this 3D view with a nice visualization. Hey, I want that wheels on the car. These are different alloys. These are kick-ass alloys. Damn, I want to have that on the vehicle here. We don't have these, but the 3D animation has. So that's of course a very impressive thing, definitely. Then normal menu right here. It's kept very simple. So I really like it because it's easy to control. You can access the Apple CarPlay right here. It goes all the way over the vehicle, and the sound system here, B&O sound system, the optional one, great surround sound. Wow, it's really nice. You can tune the volume up and down at the steering wheel. So I like this optional sound system. Android Auto is also possible. Apple CarPlay also in a wireless way. Then the GPS looks like this. also with the satellite view. You don't have to go for the satellite view, but you can. And you see here the CPU is really good because there's a lot of responsiveness overall. Then also upper and lower screen can interact with each other. So when you, for example, want to enter an address like this here, then you can write on the lower area, like for example, Hamburg. Oh, is my handwriting not great? And then Hamburg appears on the upper screen. But of course, you can always use the classic function, just use the keyboard, for example, as input. And then the voice input for the GPS is also possible. Oh, and this frameless mirror is always a nice addition, elegant and also good view to the rear. So here in the rear seating area, nice soft touch at the inside of the doors also for the rear, and then legroom. It's actually quite plentiful. So that's actually a good result because the seat is also cut out here on the back part. And then headroom with 1 with A6 or 6 with 1. Also really plentiful, so the offering of space is really very good. On the outside seats each, where we also have the nice Alcantara design, Isofix at the outside parts. You can already flip the seats from here if you like. Then in the middle part we have this armrest with some cup holders that are also adaptive. And well, the middle seat here is not that well usable because there's a huge middle all-wheel drive tunnel, and yeah, it's a little bit stiffer also, so you can sit here as a tall adult, but not very comfortable. But we have a very nice optional climate unit here for the rear, also with 2 more USB supplies. Let's take a look at the trunk together. Here we open it like this, or with the foot kick opening mechanism that is also available. And there you can see it. It's very well accessible, square dimensions. Below here, you have a small compartment. Then at the sides, some nets, you can store smaller stuff, and you can also install a net here with these 4 anchors to secure some baggage. And very cool is that you can flip the seats right here from the trunk and they indeed fall. That's not happening in the Audi A4, for example, but here a very easy and good solution. And here the length to the seat as I'm driving is indeed 2 meters. It's 115, just this area, just a normal trunk, and the width is very good, a meter, a little bit more. And you can see a cabin trolley also fits in a vertical way. And my favorite feature is here the trunk cover, because it has these side rails and then it opens and closes automatically alongside the electric hatch. Here we go. And then you can see here, oh, it's hard to see, there we go. You can see it a little bit. It closes then again and it will open once again just when we open the hatch. The only thing is that when we close it here and have a hand between it, whoa, has so much torque, it's really dangerous. Welcome here to Thomas's driving lounge with the Audi A6 Allroad. Your possible dream estate? Yeah, let's discuss this in the comments definitely. And I can tell you, by the way, it always means so much to me and to us, to our whole team, when you're with us. So all the extreme effort we're putting in, it's hard to see everything just, when looking at it, but everything that runs in the background, the amount of preparation and post-production that goes into this. And we really pay attention to the detail in advance while shooting and also after that. And well, I hope you guys realize that, and so it even means more to us when you really appreciate and also keep on watching the whole reviews. So thank you so much. Now to our review here in the driving part, the A6 Allroad. And of course it's not a completely different feeling than we would drive a normal A6. And I had a discussion there with some product experts at Audi, because on the outside it always appears like, oh, this is like, a higher sitting A6. But that's just the visual part. It's not really like that. So it has the normal air suspension. It's just that in the lift mode it can be put up, so yeah. I think that's not a bad decision. So, because the thing is, if you would put this car here with the standard setup higher, you would actually lose comfort. So So instead, it's actually the better choice to make the normal niveau with the air suspension and then put it up on demand. So you have the different driving modes here. At the moment I'm in efficiency, that is reducing the throttle input a little bit. Soon we'll also head out onto the motorway and German Autobahn with a high-speed test as well. So we present you different driving impressions here today. City driving, motorway, assistance systems, fuel economy, and so on and so on. And we do have also dynamic mode that boosts up the speed a little bit, turns up the RPMs, shifting up later. Soon experience that when we accelerate out. And then we have all-road and off-road. And I can also see it here with the how the suspension is raised. All-road would already be like a little bit raised, and then when you put it to off-road, it goes up the maximum 4.5 centimeters or 2 inches, the highest setting then for the suspension when you really have some trickier off-road situations and you do not want to scratch the the underbody of the vehicle. In general, the driving feeling of the A6 is so calm here in this new generation, a very good noise insulation. It's a very sovereign feeling, as I always say. So, has a long wheelbase, of course, very calm on the road, calm as for the noise insulation. The steering has a good feeling. It's rather light. It's a little bit more resistance than in the dynamic mode, but it has no dead zone area. So it's really a flawless driving experience. They mastered that very well here in this MLB platform. All their big SUVs and their bigger sedans or Tourings. Wait a minute, that's BMW Touring. Their Avants, that's Audi. They have some similarities in the driving feeling. Definitely here, more have the normal car seating position. But since these Alcantara sport seats are very comfortable, I'm also really just fine by that. And I could just imagine like going hours and hours and hours now in this vehicle. It is really such a relaxing ride. So again, very well done. The engines have all been upgraded now for an MHEV system, so mild hybrid technologies, so you can have some recuperation effects. It makes a little difference, not the biggest one in the world. The bigger difference is rather, our guys in the US, they all get the TFSI and only, and here in Europe we can also go for the TDI. And I'm usually not the biggest diesel fan. For the sound is not that good. However, torque is of course very, very nice, but I like that the petrol engines, or then of course also the plug-in hybrid drives or the electric vehicles, they have this power like from the low RPM areas, and the diesel first needs a little bit time, like half a second to get going, and then the turbo, then the torque sets in and so on, and are more like the other characteristic. However, this is one of the rare cars where I would actually say, if you have the choice, again, not relevant for all US viewers, that 6-cylinder TFSI is still a nice engine, no doubt about that. We've been driving that one in the initial A6 sedan review, so if you want to check that out, it's also very interesting. So in this case, we're from specialty because the 6-cylinder petrol engine has the Quattro Ultra, so that's like the more fuel-saving Quattro on one hand, but it's rather this front plus rear concept. This is here the classic Quattro. So they have 5 or 6 different Quattro concept, but the two main ones are front plus rear, or then here the standard permanent all-wheel drive, 40% in the front, 60% in the rear, standard setup, and then a little bit switching on demand. And this is actually the better system driving-wise. The other one might be more efficient, but this one is more what you would expect from, this is the classic all-wheel drive, you know what I mean? And we also have a stronger wheel-wheel bias. So in this case, probably diesel is the choice to go. And also, if we look at the fuel economy, I can score some 6 liters on 1 kilometer, even a little bit lower if I really try to, like 5.5 liters on 1 kilometer, which is excellent for a vehicle of that size. That is a little bit more than 40 mpg US and even high, like 47, 48 mpg UK. Excellent. And even cooler, when you throw this one out on the motorway, you can still score some about 8 liters on 1 kilometer, which would be about 30 mpg US and like 35 mpg UK. So the span of the fuel consumption in diesel here between like minimum consumption and maximum is not so high. You can also drive this 6-cylinder petrol quite efficient, that's possible, but then when you floor that one out, the consumption will be boosted even higher. So these then were the two reasons why in this case here, the diesel is also a very interesting choice. They also added new filters here in the new engine generation, so it's actually quite clean what comes out then. But then again, the question is, like, to treat the, treat the exhaust, everything like the fumes and so on, so, in a so complicated way. Is that the, is that the future? Future probably not, but that's what we have at the moment. Now, it's not too hard not too easy to do the acceleration here. We can do an overtaking now, 50 to 80 kilometers now. Let's see, dynamic mode. Plop, that's it, and that was already 90 actually. Dynamic mode also switches it to the S shifting mode, and you realize that now, so yes, the car also does some back shifting itself, but it needs a certain, like half a second to get going a little bit. Yes, that's also due to shifting. So if you want to reduce this effect, you can also downshift yourself here with the shifting pedals. That's also another solution. And so you're even a little bit quicker. But then the noise is actually quite subtle because the insulation from engine to the cockpit is also so well done. Cruise control you set with a separate column here behind the steering wheel. This is also equipped with all the assistance systems, traffic sign recognition, head-up display, which is an option, predictive adaptive cruise control. That means when the car knows, oh, there's like an area with a reduced speed coming ahead, like now, it's reducing the speed, but now, actually here, it's quite interesting. The 60 sign will just come on the right lane here, not on the left one. So you see, I know that here now because I'm a local, but yeah. But I really wonder, how does the system even know that, although it's a construction site? So here, there are the 60 signs now, but they just count for the right lane. But it's really astonishing that the car actually knew that there was a construction site here. Wow. Even though it was for the left lane now, or wrong information, but still, very interesting. So you can reset the cruise control then, of course, to your speed at any time. With the blind spot monitor, you've already seen when I entered the motorway there. This put in the inside of the mirrors, which is actually a good position. So this, the Passat R-Line, well, Shuri wants to take us now to showcase there it is, blind spot monitor. Thank you so much for showcasing the blind spot monitor. You were live on Autogefuehl. Hidden camera. So, and now, for example, predictive ACC sees that speed can be increased now, traffic sign recognition to 100. Yet again, the distance to the car in front of us is also being kept. So that is the thing that is then working against the accelerator at the moment. Here now the lane keeping assist here on to the right side, it works better here to the closed wide lane here now, keeping me in the lane. I had a little bit of problems of recognizing the the middle lane actually there. So this is actually quite cool. Lane departure warning, please overtake steering. The good thing I think is that the when it's active, it's a very smooth process. It's not like a whoa, what's happening here? No brake intervention or and so on. So that's actually quite cool. And it doesn't interfere too much with the steering wheel. So we have some cars, especially the newer Volkswagen, for example, Touareg especially. Yes, they upgraded it a little bit, but still, you feel like I need to turn off that lane keeping assist. It's just annoying, especially on long motorway runs. But here, actually, no problem at all. Oh, there's the Passat again. Now we head on out to the motorway with the harsh acceleration. Oh, that's an interesting tuned BMW. Interesting. You cannot see that at the moment. Yeah, I'm always looking, when you're being a car enthusiast, then you always look out to the cars which are also on the road here. And once again, enjoying the silence. We are in the dynamic mode, S shifting mode, so the maximum we can get. And this is here the 3-liter diesel, of course. You probably figured that, by the way. 3-liter TDI and in the 286 horsepower trim. So there would be this stronger S horsepower trim available too for the EU markets, but this horsepower trim is actually quite good. It will be the same engine, just a different electronic horsepower trim, so to say. And I always say, when you pick a certain engine or like a certain car model, go for the highest displacement with the lowest horsepower trim. You got that? Because that one will be the most reliable engine. You can, because it's not like tuned to the max, so to say. So now we'll start at about 40 kilometers an hour with a rolling start to be safe. And after this Kia Sorento, the older one, I'll start. Let's go. Plop, 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. And again, very smooth acceleration from this all-wheel drive. I don't get like super kick in, but strong torque from the diesel. So you surely do not lack any power. That was a older Kia Sportage, by the way. I saw that. Thank you for everyone who knows that earlier. But I hope you also checked out the acceleration. Now at 150 kilometers an hour, let's do a lane change. Really stable on the road. I also, I'm a little bit lower now from the air suspension. Now on the brakes, good braking feeling. Doesn't feel too heavy, the car overall. And again, noise insulation superb. We were driving so fast and it was not really loud in here. Great job. I can also go to the comfort mode back again. It's, by the way, better to have it here in the top screen than using the drive selector at the lower screen. I think that's a little distracting. It's just placed too low down there, I think. Now setting cruise control to 80 kilometers an hour. Other cars coming from the next city part here. Now we're closing up in the tunnel. You can see how it looks like at night. Here we go. I think with the diesel we do not really need the sound test here, but the ambient lighting here, of course, always a pleasure to see. I love that. Really cool. It's a little bit cooler even in the E-Class with the ambient lighting, but that's already quite nice in here. Now with the cruise control set to 80 kilometers an hour once again, and also the lane keeping assist. It's so easy to relax in this car on long motorway hauls. Again, with the comfort also of the seats, really nice, and also really good performance from the diesel here. So this is one of the rare occasions then where you really can get once again a diesel fan when you're driving this dream estate. It all comes at a price, of course. So when you think about 60K is the entry price for the all-road model, that already includes some features like the air suspension. In the US, also the 20-inch wheels, which are an option here, 18-inch for the German or EU market. Most EU markets stand at 18-inch, optional than the other ones. Do not go for 21-inch, you will lose comfort. So either stick with the 20-inch or in the EU, maybe even think about the smaller ones if you want more comfort. However, here the combination 20-inch with the air suspension is still super comfortable. So this air suspension has like not a super soft setup in the normal Nouveau mode. So not like Mercedes sets their normal air suspension that's like a little bit shaking, which I sometimes really like about the air suspension, which is a cool and nice calm feeling. Audi here has a little bit more, a little sportier philosophy, but I think they have a good compromise, So it's not as stiff as you would feel. Oh, there's not an air suspension anymore, but it's a little bit stiffer than it would be like floating. So you don't have like a shaking up process, but yet again, it's super comfortable. So the compromise between sportiness and comfort is very, very well mastered here. So heads off to that again. One of my other favorite features is definitely, oh, that's an interesting tuned Leon MK2. Did you see that? pretty thick exhaust there, centrally placed, but no Cupra logo whatsoever. So I wonder, it doesn't look like it would be a Cupra. Maybe like custom tuned, I don't know. Well, race. Yeah. In this case, probably no match to our 3-liter diesel. So back to my other favorite feature, which is, microphone is still okay, yeah. Which is the all-wheel steering, or like rear axle steering, we have to be precise. So rear axle steering, that the rear axle wheels turn in the opposite direction than the front wheels at lower speeds, and here at highest, it reduces the turning circle and so on. It gives you more agility, parking in and out, basement garage, and now here at higher speeds, then they steer in the parallel direction to give you more stability, and that just gives you such a good feeling. When the car is driving a little bit slower, then it feels like a car with a shorter wheelbase. It's pretty cool. Sometimes people wonder in the reviews, like, oh, you've been overtaken by MPV, you've been overtaken by a commercial vehicle, oh, you've been overtaken by a Smart 4.2 in a Porsche 911 Turbo S. Yeah, that happens when you want to keep your driver's license. So always the explanation then, safety is first. And I mean, you see, we hammer the throttle from time to time on racetracks, also when we're allowed to. But, you know, you don't want to show anyone that it would be like a good thing to speed where it's not allowed. And of course, I need my driver's license to still be able to do all the reviews. Now, out of the tunnel, and this would be, again, dynamic mode choice. Still in the 8th gear, so I shift back myself now a little bit. So I shift back to the 4th gear, for example, then you see that the acceleration is coming better now. Now, that's 180 kilometers, that should be enough right here now, and again, so stable here in that long motorway corner. Now, changing lanes, such a great feeling here. This is such a sovereign car on the road once again, really amazing. And let's see, let's put it a little bit slower to like a typical motorway speed also in the US. So it would be here 130 kilometers an hour or 80 miles an hour, and at that speed it's so super silent here and so relaxed. I even tend to put my hand off the steering wheel because I almost feel bored how calm this car reacts. Even in the dynamic sports mode here, by the way, the air suspension is still somewhat comfortable. Only if it gets a little bit bumpier, then you feel it. But you can always go back, for example, to the comfort mode to have the softest mode of the air suspension. Wow. Overview, by the way, especially in the A6 version, is a little bit better than in the sedan. But overall, I think the overview is very good. And then we also have the blind spot monitor when we have a problem there with the B-pillar and so on. So, yeah, I mean, the initial claim, so to say, from the driving part, you really have to congratulate them what they've done here. This is definitely one of the dream estates on the market. It has this special, unique look on the outside. It delivers you driving-wise. Oh, I mean, you can drive sporty with this vehicle, really. You know, especially air suspension, dynamic mode, putting it lower, a little bit stiffer, good steering, and so on. At the same time, you can just roll and relax on the motorway, and you have even some off-road capabilities when you pump it up all with the air suspension, pump it up your hole. So that's again very cool thing. Yeah, quite impressed by what they've done. The other A6 versions we've been driving were of course also basically as good as that one, but still this A6 with the special interior looks here, with the off-road air suspension setting possibility. Yeah, and of course this special crossover look on the outside, which they really have, you know, put on quite well. Still something very special here in the model lineup, and you know, I always appreciate the practicability of estate vehicles. Although I'm not like the biggest fan of estates, like they're not my favorite cars visually wise. But here, being now in the all-wheel trim, the Ascena, I wouldn't mind, you know. got some 100k spare. Yeah, because that's the catch. 60k the entry trim and 100,000 euros, including all the options we have here in this very test vehicle today. Yeah, that's probably the biggest catch of the day. And now to our conclusion for today with the Audi A6 Allroad. Is it the dream estate? I think we can definitely say yes. It looks pretty unique from the exterior. It's not too playful, but really distinctive design lines. The interior, a great build quality, especially with these Allroad Alcantara seats that are very special and also good in the climate comfort, cool enough in summer and also warm and cozy in winter times. Unfortunately, that you cannot get these seats in the US so far. I think you should ask your dealer when you are ordering this vehicle here in the US that you want to have these seats actually. I mean, at some point the customers also have the demand for sure. But in general the build quality is really high, although in the higher trims and on certain markets the availability of non-animal options are, it's really scarce here with Audi still. Then also a lot of space on the interior. Overall a very well usable estate, and driving wise so sovereign that air suspension is a great comfort feature and also combines comfort and sportiness in a very special way. Such a great ride also on the motorway, even at higher speeds. Very silent also. The only thing noise wise I could sometimes hear is when you're driving slow, because there are hardly any rolling noise and engine noises, then you have the AC in a certain mode, then you can maybe hear that, like a strange noise from the front part there, but that's the only thing. I usually hear music, I don't hear it anyway, and overall the car is very, very silent. And the diesel here also with good fuel economy, so together with the argument that this has the normal, permanent all-wheel drive, this could indeed be an argument when you have the possibility here in the EU that this here is the better choice than in this case to take the diesel. Well, overall a very impressive car. Yeah, it's just the price, as I said earlier, at least 60k, but with all the options here we have, a dream estate for sure for 100,000 euros or dollars. That's the catch for today. What do you think about the A6 Allroad? Tell me in the comments, join us there, and also tune in to reviews more versions of the A6 and also BMW 5 Series or Mercedes E-Class. Got a lot of those. Enjoy it. See you next time.